What if I told you you could create amazing shows like you see in your favorite drum corps, marching band, or indoor ensemble? In this series, I will teach you everything you need to know about creating amazing shows for any marching ensemble. Using the best software out there, I will guide you from beginning to end on what you need to do and what not to do based on my more than 30 years of experience writing drill. It all starts right now on March or Die. Welcome back to the March or Die TV channel. I am the Stress Master. Thank you all for joining me. I really do appreciate it. If you're joining me on the series, then hopefully you have an interest in learning how to write drill. Maybe you're already writing drill. You want to learn some different techniques from different people. We're going to be learning the basics from setup to finish. Basically, I'm going to be doing one movement, one piece, and kind of just showing you what you're going to need before you get started, how to get everything set up so that you can use Pyware, and then how to write the drill. So we're going to cover as much as we can. So let's go ahead and switch on over. Okay, so I kind of did a PowerPoint. It just helps me get organized, helps me make sure that I have all my thoughts in a logical order. So we're going to actually use a PowerPoint here to kind of go through some information that might be helpful for you. So this is going to be the basics from setup to finish. It is just one piece we're going to be doing. That way we kind of just make it really simple, but you can apply these techniques to any type of drill that you're writing, whether it's indoor, outdoor, marching band, specialized things. The techniques are the same. So the first thing is what you're going to need before you can write the show. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to analyze the score with the music, and then we're going to go into setting up Pyware. So there are some things that we need to make sure that we do before we can even write. So there you can see we have three steps before we can even write drill. And then we're going to go into writing drill. How do we stage things? How do we put things on the field? Talk about that in depth. And then the last thing is how to print the drill charts and creating your videos. So there are some different ways you can do that as well. All right, so what you need before you can write the show. So I highly recommend that you meet with the director and staff. If you can meet with both, that's great, because you're going to have percussion staff, you're going to have color guard staff, you could have a visual caption head or somebody that's in charge, but it's really, really important to meet with them because you really want to understand the group, their level, the way that they do things there, so that you can make sure that you're writing the show to the best of your ability, so that they can interpret what you're writing and then teach it on the field. So that's really, really helpful. Also, the next part is show theme. So you can meet with the band director, meet with the staff, and understand what their theme is, what's their goal for the show, their expectations. All that stuff will be very, very helpful for you to make sure that you not only understand that, but that you are able to have people to ask questions, because you might have questions along the way. You're like, hey, in this piece, there's this part here. How did you want that staged? Do you want the color guard in the front? Do you want the color guard in the back? And that might be also good to really coordinate with the color guard instructor as well, because those things will help you out. So we're going to talk about that later on. Music selection. So making sure you know first off what the music is, and then you have a good understanding of the music, and you can break it down. And we're going to go over how to break it down, analyze the score, so that you know kind of like where the phrases are, where the pages are going to be for the drill potentially. But that's always a flexible thing. The next is numbers of the ensemble by section. So you're going to need to know how many flutes, how many clarinets, how many trombones. Is there a stronger section than another section? Stuff like that. So they could have a really strong brass section and a really strong saxophone section, but the flutes are relatively new, or not as much as experience. Or the color guard could be very strong. So it's just understanding those kind of things. Also, props. Are there going to be any props in the show? Any backdrops? Are they static? They move throughout. Do they want them to move throughout the show? All these kind of things to understand. And lastly is the level of difficulty you need to write the show to. So once again, it could be the whole band is one level, and maybe it's a medium level. or maybe they're advanced. Maybe they march some complicated drill. Or like I said earlier, it could be one section is maybe there's freshmen in one section, and they have more freshmen than any other, and you have to maybe write their drill a little bit simpler, but everybody else can move a little bit more. So it's all these things that you got to take into account. You got to understand before you write the show. Now, if you're on the staff, then it makes it a lot easier because you already know these things. But if you're writing for a group that you're not associated with, and these are all things that I think that I was thinking of that would be important to know before you get going. So I created a sheet, an information sheet that you can use, that I use when I write for a show. So this is to gather that type of information we were just talking about so that we have it, and we have it for reference. This sheet can also be modified for indoor. If you're doing winter drumline, you can just remove the winds, or if it's color guard, then you can maybe remove just those sections of it. But I'm going to put this in a Google Drive. There's going to be a link in the description of the video that everybody will have access to, as well as the PowerPoint and any other documents that I go over during the series. So one of the most important things is the name of the ensemble, so you get it right. The date the drill is needed, that is very important, because you want to be able to prioritize when you need to have the drill done. A lot of times that I've experienced is they just need the opener by band camp, whenever that is, end of July, August, whenever it is. Or maybe they need the whole drill. They want the whole drill by August. So getting that those specifics specified at the beginning is really, really helpful, because then they're not calling you going, hey, where's my drill? You'll already be on point. So contact name. So usually it's going to be the director, but it could be the assistant. It could be whoever their visual caption head is. So it could be someone else. Other contacts, phone, email, overall level of the group, which we brought up on the PowerPoint, beginning, intermediate, advanced. Theme of the show, musical selections, and then please include scores. That's very important. You need to get the music. A lot of times you won't get everything at first, so I would just really recommend just make sure you stay on communication with the person that you're dealing with, and making sure you get the scores, you get all the information before you start. A lot of times they want you to start writing before, and you can't really do that. You need to have the music. You need to be able to have everything synchronized, ready to go in Piware, so that you're able to start writing, because that's really the key. All right, also your numbers here, and I have it listed out by different, the most common instruments on the field. If there's additional, maybe they have bass clarinets, maybe they have a bassoon, you never know. Something different, soprano saxophone, they can put that on the list here as well. Also percussion, snares, quads, basses, cymbals, color guard, total number of guard, and include which equipment they'll initially be on. That's where I think it's really good, especially as a visual person, to work with their color guard staff. Whenever I've written for bands, I've always made it a point to ask the band director, can I get the color guard person's information so I can communicate with them throughout the process? Because it's really key, because the color guard has to switch equipment at different points. They could start on flags, for example, in the opener, or maybe halfway through the opener they switch to rifles, or half are on rifle, half are on flag. They switch to saber. Maybe they're doing a dance part where there's no equipment. So you need to know all of that little detailed information as part of your design process. So it's really crucial and key to be very communicative with that person. So I highly recommend doing that as well. And it says right here, a separate sheet will be sent for equipment changes throughout the show. So I don't really have a sheet created, but you can create a separate sheet to send that asks, in this movement, give me the times of all of your equipment changes. Where would you like the equipment change to be? In the front, in the back, by the props? Where would you like that done? Will you be utilizing props? Yes or no? If yes, can you provide the artwork for the props? Because in Piware, you can actually put the artwork, and I'm going to show you how to do that later on, onto the props. So if you have backdrops with like a scene or something like that, you can include those and divide them up equally, and then you can spread them across all of the backdrops. So it kind of really gives you a really good look of what the show's going to look like designed. And you can also, if you want to pay the extra, you can change the color and the style of the uniforms for the band and the color guard in Piware. They actually have a service that you can pay for, You can do it on your own. There's tutorials on how to do it. I'm not going to cover that in this training, this series, but there are ways you can do that. And lastly, if there's any special instructions, they can put it in that field there. Once again, I'm going to make this available to you guys in the Google Drive. All right, next we're going to look at how to analyze the score. This is something that I find super valuable. I would highly recommend you listen to the music multiple times until you become so sick of it you can sing it. You can sing it in your sleep. You can sing it when you're driving, because you need to know this music inside and out. It is so important as a visual designer to really understand the music, understand who's playing, what's being played, where the builds, where the impact points, who's soloing, which sections have the main melody. It's all very, very important when you're designing the drill, because you have to stage your events, your things going on based on who has the melody. Do they need to be closer to the front? Because maybe the woodwinds are playing a double forte, but if they're in the back, you can't hear them. You need them closer to the front. But if they don't have the main melody, maybe you can put the brass down across the front for a certain section. It's all about understanding all those little elements. So when you're analyzing the score, you want to block it out. So I'm going to show you the way I block out a score, and I do it by phrases. I also circle time signatures. I circle the how many beats per minute, different things like that. They're going to help me understand something. If there's a solo, I circle it. If you want to use I used to use highlighters to highlight things, like if there's crescendos, stuff like that. Whatever you need to do to help you block out the score. But I'm just going to go over the basics of how to do that whole process of just blocking it out. We're going to look at impact points, solos, fermatas, and then we're going to look at how to put it into a count sheet. So I created a special count sheet for me, so I can actually just put in the counts, and it automatically converts the count number for Piware, so that when you import it in, you have the right count numbers, because that's how Piware uses it to distinguish what is a tab, a page tab. So that helps you divide your pages, your phrases up musically. So we're going to talk about all of that. So you get all that here for free. You're welcome. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so we have something that's a little unique. Usually you don't find the music with a score that's on a video. For Malaguena, though, we actually do have that opportunity. So we're actually going to watch the video, which has the score, and it turns the pages when it's supposed to, and we can hear the music, see it, and then I'm going to show you guys how I block out this score as we go along. I'm going to try not to take too long to do it, but it does take more time than what you're going to see here in this video, so just be aware of that. Right, the piece I've chosen is Malaguena. It's a great piece written by Jay Baku. He is the arranger for the Cadets. This was made popular by the Madison Scouts, 1988, I think 1996, if I'm not mistaken as well. So if you want to go and watch that show, become a little more familiar with it, give you some ideas of visual. I'm not going to be using that as my basis for creating this show today. I'm just going to be using my own creativity, my own ideas. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to watch the video. I'm just going to do phrase by phrase. Usually you'd want to listen to the whole thing from beginning to end, so you have a really good idea of what the song is before you start breaking it down by phrases. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and do phrase by phrase. But once again, you want to listen to the whole thing a couple times before you even get to this point. But I know this song so well, I could probably block it out without having to listen to it. But let's go ahead and watch it. Okay, first thing we notice, it's in 4/4 time, 84 beats a minute. Unison, kind of a unison phrase there. We're going to pause it right there. So you can see right here, it changes to 3/4. So our first part is in 4/4, 84 beats a minute. So this bar here, to me is a pickup, what we call a pickup bar. It's really not a part of the melody. It's just kind of a pickup bar to kind of get the song started. So we're going to actually utilize that. I think here I'm going to do a turnaround. So we're going to have everybody facing the back in whatever formation or whatever it is. It could also be they're facing back and they move 4 counts into a formation, and then they can move from there. So we can start in a scatter, move to a form, and then push the form in the next part of the phrase. So let's go listen to it one more time. Yeah, pick a phrase. Such a cool little phrase there. Okay, so we're going to make this the pickup bar. So we're going to have to do a turnaround. We're going to have them move for 8 counts. We're going to create a move here of 8, and then we're going to create another move of 16, and then we're going to hold for 8. You could technically just do a 24 count move. So you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars of 4, which is 24 counts, with a turn. So there's lots of variety you can do here. I'm going to keep it simple for this demonstration just so we don't get too confused. But let's go ahead and look down here at the score. So I'm going to start blocking this out. So what I do is I create this little bracket here. This is the beginning of the phrase, and this is the beginning of the show. And then I put a T-junction here to notate that this is all still part of the same phrase. So you can block this out however you want. I also circle anytime there's a key change, or sorry, not key change, time signature change, and also what the time is, because we're going to need to know that it's 84 beats, a quarter note equals 84 beats a minute. We're going to need that data later on when we're programming into Piware. So this is going to be a 4 count. I'm not sure. It's probably going to be a turn. That's what I'm envisioning as a turn. And then we have 8 counts here. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 move, bum, 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 da, dee, da, 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 dee, ba, da, 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 hold, ba, da, 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 dee, da, da, dow. So we could technically, we could turn and hold. Not the most exciting thing, but it would give us the most power. So we could just maybe have them turn for 4, hold for 8, and then move this 16 here. So we're just going to mark it right now for 24. We're going to make that decision later on because we just want to block out the score. We kind of want to get an idea of what we want to do, but we can always change our mind later, right? So we know in total, let me make sure I don't move this so you guys can see, that this is going to be a hold for 8 here. So we're going to hold for 8. I already know for certain that's a hold for 8. All right, so we put another T junction there. All right, so our phrase is going to go, whoops, sorry. Our phrase is going to go all the way through to here. And what I'm going to do, once again, you don't need to do it this way. This is just the way I do it. So I know this is 4, 24, and 8, right? So it's 36 counts. So I'm going to go ahead and put a big 36 here. And this will help me later on. So I know this is 36 counts. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to constantly remember how many counts is this. I know it's 36 all the way to here. These are just the subcomponents of that 36, the 4, the 24, and the 8. So that way it kind of just shows you this whole thing's 36, but I'm breaking it up this way. We're going to move on to the next phrase. And now we're going into 3/4 in a faster tempo. And it's a solo. And stop. Can you guys all hear? That's where the phrase wants to naturally end. So that's going to be our next phrase, our next page of drill. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to listen to it one more time. I think it's somewhere around here. Here we go, a little bit faster tempo. Stop. So we're going to stop right before the 1. Ba-da-dee-da-da-dee. So we're going to cut it off right here. And this is measure 18 is where we're going to be stopping. So we're going from measure 10 to measure 18. All right, so now we're looking down here. This will be different. So we're going to want to circle the key change. Number 10, that's also going to be important because since we don't have letter numbers, we have measure numbers as the points because we want to put page 2, number 10. So that way they know if I look at number 10, that's going to be the start of page number 2 for my drill. So very important to put. And then also we need the 3/4 bar because we're going to start counting this differently because it'll be in 3s instead of in 4s. So bow, ba da dee da da dee da 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 da, ba da 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 da. Oops, sorry. Ba da dee da da. Stop. Okay, so right here we're going to put a T junction. And then we also have our T junction here. So we know from here all the way through here, that's going to be our phrase. Now we can break this up later on if we want to. We can make it 2 separate drill moves. For our purposes, just get it in there so that we know this is kind of a blocking of how we want to do it, kind of a setup for how we want to do it. We can change it. We can change our mind. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 24 counts. Once again, I'll put 24 at the very, very top. We're going to put our arrow here. I probably shouldn't have put an arrow on the previous one. So that way we know we're continuing on. So we're going here to here, and that is 24. Now, if you want to put 24 in here, just so you kind of have a reminder. But once again, you really just need to know these main numbers here and the time signature and stuff so you have an idea of the counts. Because we're going to have to synchronize this to our drill, which it gets a little more challenging, especially when you have multiple tempo changes. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good. So we got 2 pages down. So let's go ahead and move on to our next page. Here we go, next phrase. Let's go back a little bit. One. Ba-da-dee-da-da. Another hold. Okay, and then this is start of a little drum break. Do-ga-do-do-ga-do-do-ga-do. And there's a tempo change in the hold. So this is where it gets a little more tricky. And it's also going over the number. So this is going to be a little more tricky. So let's listen to it one more time just so we have a good understanding of this phrase. We're going to go back up. There we go. Let's try this. So this section, we don't know quite what we're going to do with it yet. I know it's going to be a hold for sure from measure 22 through 24. We could do like a mini move. We could do a separation of form or something like that, like bum, ba bum, ba ba da dum. Right? We could do something like that. So we're just going to mark it up. Let's go ahead and mark it the way we're going to do it. So, and then we can figure out what we're going to do specifically later. So let's go back in the score. Whoops, a little bit more. Okay, so we're starting on measure 18 here. So this is the new phrase. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we switch to 4, 4. So we're going to come down here to our score, and we're going to mark this out a little bit. So we have the 4, 4 here. We have 3 bars. We have 12. Now we need to decide what we're going to do with that. So when we get to the 4, 4 right here, you guys can see measure 22. That's going to be a hold for us. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it's still part of the phrase. So that's the key part of the blocking is I want it to make sure it's a part of the phrase. It can be a separate move technically later on, but for now it's going to be part of our phrase, which is going to be 12 and then hold for 12 because we have, sorry, I'm pointing to the screen like you guys can see that. here we go. So there's the 12 here as well, because we have 4, 8, and 12. So, and honestly, whenever you have a key change, if you can avoid moving during the key change, it makes it a lot easier, but sometimes you can't avoid it. It's just part of the phrase. So we're gonna have 12 here. We're gonna do a little T-junction here, because we know what we're doing. And once again, we can make these 2 separate moves later on if we really want to. T-junction, T-junction, 12. So we're going to do 24. And then we are going across here. And once again, we can change our mind later. But that's our game plan for right now. All right, so let's go ahead and move that over. So now we got a good game plan for the very first part. We just completed the solo. Let's go ahead and move forward here. Cool little drum break. Right into another phrase. Stop. Okay, so usually phrases are going to end on measured numbers, like I stated earlier, or maybe I didn't state it earlier. They're usually going to end on a number. That's why the numbers are there, so you kind of know where the phrases are. But let's go back, because we're going to create for that drum break, it's going to be its own phrase, its own page. So we're going to have 16 counts here. Boom, 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 boom. And once again, let's down here. It's going to be really, really simple, because it's just a 16 counts. So we're going to do 16. You can still do the arrows. You don't have to do the arrows. I usually just do arrows when I'm going across pages. It just helps make it easier for me to know that, hey, this is continuing on past this page. But this is a drum break, and I label it as is, drum break. And then I probably want to go back and label the solo. So we're going to go back a couple pages. We're going to circle the solo, because I failed to do that. So solo, because that's also going to be important. We need to know who the soloist is, right? What they're, usually I'm going to make soloist number 1, like baritone 1, trombone 1, whatever it is, so I know. But I'm also marking it solo here, so I know this is a solo, so I need to pay attention to that, because that person's going to be separated from the rest of the form probably, or staged in a mic or something like that. So you want to keep that in check. Okay, so we got that labeled. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. So you guys are going to see some mistakes being made here as I'm recording this video, but my goal is to get you the basics, what you need. So let's go ahead and move on. And this is an ensemble. Everybody's playing this, or at least some variation of it. Cool. So to me, that's one whole phrase. We're gonna go from 29 to 37. So that's okay. So we have from 29 to 37. So let's go ahead and block that out here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a total of 32 counts. We're gonna do our arrows. Once again, you don't have to do this, but this is something I do. And then sometimes I put the number here just so I know what the counts are. If I'm looking here, I can go, okay, this is part of a 32 count phrase from before, and I can go back and look at what it is. But this is pretty straightforward, so I think we continue forward. So my goal is I'm probably going to show you the whole thing from beginning to end. The song's not that super long. It's 3 minutes total, but we can block it out pretty quickly. So let's get to it. Let's go back a little bit. Going back just a little bit, phrase before. This is 29. And next phrase, 37. Okay, so you can tell where the phrases are, and once again, they're pretty much marked. The composer marks them where the phrases should be. Now you can break those up into 2 separate sets if you want to, if it's more conducive, But this is pretty straightforward. We're going 37 to 45. There's a subito forte piano here. There's a crescendo. So now that I'm remembering this, this is probably going to be a hold here. So let's go ahead and we know this is the phrase here, but I want to go ahead and look and listen. Let's go back to listen one more time and see if the next part should be a part of that hold. So we're going to have a movement and a hold, and that's technically, I mean, it's two separate phrases, but I usually put the phrase and the hold together. So it's like move 32, hold for 8, or whatever it is, just so you can kind of have an idea. It's a little tricky. Okay, this swing section coming up, we're going to get to it in a second. That to me is a hold. So let's go back, because this is where it gets a little tricky. So Jay Boku, good job to you. And once again, all copyrights belong to the original composer. We're just doing this for educational purposes only. So please don't use this music. don't use it without proper authorization to use so to do so. It's just for educational purposes. Okay. So we're going to go back one more time. We're going to listen to it again. This is where sometimes you got to listen to this more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times to really go, okay, how do I want to block this out? Now, we could just block it out and move on and figure it out later, which we can. We can do that. But I want to have a good idea on paper of what I'm doing so that I can add it to my count sheet. Okay, good. So I already know what I'm going to do. So we're gonna do 37 to 45, and then this part. So to me, this can be a hold, and then this is a move. So we're gonna block it out. So we're going to do the 37 to 45. I'm going to block out the 45 to 49 with the question mark. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a hold, a move, or what. I have a feeling it's going to be a hold, but I'm kind of on the fence on this. So I just want to get it blocked out so we can move on. So we're going to go 37 all the way across here. So we're going to do 37 to 45. Let me get that page up. Okay. So here we go. So we're going to definitely mark this here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So another 32 count move. Pretty straightforward. So 32. Oops, didn't mean to do that. No arrow. We're continuing on. Okay. Sorry, I keep moving the page around. I gotta write. And then we're continuing on here. So once again, I'm putting 32 here. So I know. Okay, now this part here, I already know is another phrase. I'm probably singing it wrong, but that's the idea. So this is a 16 counter. So we're just going to leave it alone for now. I'm not sure what we're going to do with it, but sometimes they run together because that subito forte piano usually is going into an impact of some sort of hit, something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and leave that one alone for now. Let me flip these over. Okay. Okay. So now we kind of know what we're doing up through measure, looks like 49. So let's go back a little bit and then we'll move forward. Okay, So this is where it gets also a little tricky. And that's why I love this song, because you can do so many things with it. It's so many things that you can be creative with it. You can have a move, halt, have one group move, have the other group halt, and then alternate it, all kinds of cool stuff. So we really need to figure out what we're doing with this whole section up through this double bar right here, and that's measure 56. So we really need to figure out what we're going to be doing with that part. So we're going to go back one more time. We're going to listen to it, get another read on it, so we kind of know what we're doing. That's a new phrase right there. Okay, cool. I think I know what I'm going to do with this phrase now. Okay, I've listened to it 3 times, so I think I know what I'm going to do. We're going to hold right here, and move again, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be a move, a hold, a move through here, hold through here, and then a move again as we go into the impact for the swing section, which we know we're going to hold. We're going to hold. That's a park and blow shout section, so we know we're going to definitely do that. So let's go back one page, and then I will mark up my score accordingly. Okay, so we know this part here is our phrase, and we already have that marked down, so we're going to go down to our score here. Sorry if my face disappears. I'm trying to be good about the camera. So we have another phrase here. So this is 16. Whoops. Go in there. Sorry about that. Okay. So I'm going to do it like this just so I have an idea. So we have one bar here, and we're going to here. Now, this to me is going to be one phrase. Okay, you can mark it up however you want to mark it. I'm going to mark it with the little T junction here, because this is going to be a hold 8 and then move 8. And up through here is going to be our 16 count move. Okay, so we're going to move for 16. So we could technically do hold 8, move 8. We can put the hold there. It's semantics, really. When we do the instructions later on, we'll kind of figure out the best way to do that. But I know for sure this is how I'm going to do it. And even though it's a little bit more pages, the effect is going to be so cool, because we're going to be holding here. Move 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to park and blow for a while. All right. Hopefully you guys are feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. So we're going to go ahead and continue on and move on with our score analysis. All right. So let's move forward. Let me go ahead and change pages here. All right. So let's jump into the swing section here. We're going to go back just a little bit. Going back a little too far. Move 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, park. Okay, good. So we're at 65. So it's a 8-bar phrase, and we got to decide what we want to do with that, or if we want to tack this part on as well. So we're going to go back and listen to it one more time, and then we're going to continue forward playing this next section just to see how we want to break this up. Okay. Once again, I told you score analysis takes some time. You got to take a little bit of extra time to really figure out what you want to do. 13, 14, 15. That's definitely a mood change right there. Bum ba da 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 dum bum 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 bum. So we got a mood change there. So we have 57 to 71. So what are we gonna do with those two phrases, Stress Master? Well, let's break it down. So for right now, I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back down to our sheet here, is we're just going to block it out from 57 to 65. Okay, once again, we just need to get the tabs on there. We can add tabs, we can remove tabs, we can change tabs, however we want to do it in Piware later on. We really just need to get this score analyzed to figure out how we want to kind of break it down and do it, to kind of know what we want to do. So we're going to do from 57 to 65. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should have 8. Yeah, 8. So 32 total counts. All right, we're going from here to here, and then we're going across and then into our next page. So once again, you can, if you have a better way to block it out. I just do it this way because that way it keeps my mind engaged in what I'm doing. So, all right, well, we got that 32 counts figured out. Now we have this next 65 here. So we're going to go 65 to 71. We're just going to block it out. We can make our decisions later on what we want to do, but we just want to get it blocked out. Now I know I spent a lot of time analyzing the beginning parts, but we want to make sure that we are doing our best to block it out. If we hear a halt, let's put the halt. If we hear that, like whatever thing in our head, write it down. This is really kind of your roadmap, but it's not your ultimate destination guide, right? You can change routes and do whatever you want. All right, so we got 65. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one's shorter. It's a 24 count phrase. Okay, I'm going to put a little T-junction here. And then we're going 24 from here to here. Okay. So we have 65 to 71, and then we change mood right in the Latin section. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. We're going to move back just a little bit, a couple seconds. Here we go. 15, 16. Okay, this one's an easy one for me. It's a 16 count phrase. All right, so that's an easy one for me. Let's go back down here. It's a 16 counter, pretty easy. All right, pretty easy for me. Makes sense to me. And then this is really the key, is the boom, 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 boom. So that needs to be a very powerful voice. So we want to keep that in mind in the drill too, where they're going to be at. All right, I'm feeling good about that. Hopefully you guys are too. We're going to continue forward. Let's back up just a smidge so we can get a little run up on it. I just realized I'm almost all the way through this, and I'm probably getting bleed through, so I'm going to have to put my headphones on just so that I don't, we don't have the sound competing with each other. So hopefully I can make that work and not have to re-record the last 20 minutes. So let's continue forward. All right, so we're on measure 71. There we go. Let's back up just a little bit more. Okay. Part 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, this is a little bit more tricky. So we have 75 through 87. So we need to figure this out because this is going to be a little more tricky. So let's go back. We're going to look at the score a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Let's go back. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we got it here. Here we go. Right there's a change of phrase. So right here is the change of phrase. So it's 79. Okay, so we got 75 through 79. So I'm thinking that is going to be a move. So that's 16 counts. Once again, this is not set in stone. This is just so we can get the... So to me, that makes sense. Sounds right. So we are going to do our best to block this out. Okay, so we have here, so it's 16, and we're continuing forward to right here. Like I said, this is definitely not set in stone. We can change this at any point once we get the drill into the system the counts into the system, we can make changes. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue forward. I think that's what we want to do. So let's go ahead and back up just a little bit. All right. Okay, and then right here in the boom, 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 that's another phrase. So I think right here, and we can combine these two together. We could go from 75 all the way through 82, however we want to do it. So I think we're going to block it out for now. So we're going to go back down to the score. Okay. 3, 4, so this is it right here. 16 and 16 this way. All right, so we have 16. Not pretty, but that's all right. It gets the idea across. Okay, and then we have another counts here. So let's go ahead and listen to this part, but I already know what I'm going to do here. We're just going to back it up just a little bit. Okay, so from my past experience and knowing this song so well, I know we're going to be holding during that shout section right before this, and we're probably going to step off on 95. Also, just the momentum seems to be taking me that way. So let's listen one more time. It does help having experience with the song in the past. So let's back up just a little bit more. All right. Okay. Move. Bum, bum, bum. Yep, that's what we're going to do. Okay. So we're going all the way through 95. So that's all going to be part of one idea, one phrase. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down. Hopefully this is still on camera. Okay, so that's we're going to move in quite a lot. So we're going 87. Okay. So we are going to block the phrase before it. So we know, well, actually, this is a hold. What am I doing? Okay. So we have the T junction here. We're going to move 16. Okay. 16 here to here. And this is going to be a hold. Okay, this is a hold from here all the way through 95. So it's 3 pages, sorry. Hopefully I have this all on camera. And this is the beginning, the second page, third page. So I'm going in reverse here, but and it's Furioso at 160. So it's just a good time to hold, let everybody get their bearings on the tempo, and then you can step off after. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is really the end here, but we're going to put it here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have a 32 count hold. So we're moving 16 and hold for 32. So this is a hold for 32. I consider this part of this phrase. You can consider it however you wish, but this is all a hold here, hold, and we're holding all the way to here. We're holding all the way through here. All right, I feel good about that. Let's continue forward. So we only have a little bit more to go in this song, but thank you guys for sticking with me. Hopefully I'm going to cut this so it's going to be a little more concise, so you guys won't see all the little missteps I've made. But let's keep going. We're going to go back just a little bit. Rewind. Here we go. This is the hold. Moving. We're going to stop right there. So we have a phrase from here to here. So 95 to 100. we got to figure out what we're going to do with this. So let's do it one more time, just so we can get our bearings on it. A little bit before, there we go. Okay, so we can do a couple different things. We can move the whole 24, or we can move 16, hold for 8. Right now we're just going to block it because I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with that yet. But I know it's 24 counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going from here to here. Okay, so that's 24 counts. And then we add the next part, which is closing out of the song. But I feel pretty good. Like I said, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with this section here, but we don't know yet. So let's go back to the video. Let's go back just a little bit. We'll go back to the whole phrase here, get a run up on it. Okay, so that's the end of the song. So we're going to go back and listen to it one more time. Okay, so I'm just going to mark this as one long phrase, and we're going to figure out what to do with this later on once we get in the drill, kind of seeing like how it's developing. Because right now I think it's a little too premature to decide what we want to do with this yet. I kind of have some ideas, but I really wanted to let it take its course. Okay, so we're just going to go from here to the end. And this is the very, very end. End. Sorry, my writing's horrible. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 32 total counts. And we go right back here, through here, and this is 32. I'm doing it the backwards on this one because this is only one bar, so you guys can do it however you want. But that gives us all of our counts. So I think we're in good shape. So we want to take this information and then put it onto our count sheet. All right, so we're gonna have to do that on our next video. But thank you guys so much for joining me on this part. Hope you guys have learned a little bit about what we need to do in order to even get ready to write the drill, the fun part of writing the drill. But this work will really help us understand all of the things that we need to know before we even start that process, before we start getting the creative going. Because you really want to have a good understanding of the music. You want to have a great understanding of how you're going to visualize everything that you're doing musically. So the visual really is the music. The music is the visual. So you want those two things intertwined continually as you're writing this show, so that way when you're watching it, you can see the music in motion, to quote George Zingali. So it's music in motion. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Please make sure you subscribe if you have not done so previously. I would really, really appreciate it. And that way you get notified when we get the next video in this series coming up very, very soon. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And if you have not seen my previous videos, go back to the channel, watch any of the videos you like. We also have a podcast. We're on episode number 7. We are going to be continuing on that series coming up after the Christmas break, the holiday break. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, march on.